This is the Xiaomi 12 Pro disassembly. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and follow me on Twitter so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Next, we need to apply heat to the back plate using a hairdryer or a heat gun to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then we're going to use a plastic pry tool to pry the back plate off. Here's a better look at the glass back plate. The glass camera lens covers can be replaced by applying heat and gently prying them off. Here's a look at the other side. There are 19 Phillips screws that need to be removed. Next, there's a metal bracket that needs to be removed. And then the flex cable for the LED flash and light sensor can be disconnected. Once that's disconnected, the top plastic cover can be removed. The wireless charging coil is located in the center and is covered with graphite film, and the graphite film helps transfer heat. This is the LED flash and light sensor, and there are antenna lines drawn on this plastic piece, which are these light gray color lines. Here's a look at the other side. Now that we have access to the battery cables, we're going to disconnect those first. Once the battery cables are disconnected, we can proceed to disconnect the rest of the cables. There's some copper tape covering this connector which needs to be peeled off in order to be able to disconnect it. There's some more copper tape covering the front-facing camera connector which needs to be peeled off. Here's a better look at the front-facing camera. There are 3 coaxial cables on the bottom right side of the board that need to be disconnected by popping them off. Now the main board can be lifted up and removed. There's a 50 megapixel wide angle, portrait, and super wide angle camera. The wide angle lens has a YS. The camera connectors can be disconnected by just popping them off. There's an infrared or IR blaster located on the top corner, and a secondary microphone. This is also a multi-layer board. The proximity sensor is located on the back, and there's copper tape on the back of the wide angle lens, as well as the back shields. And there's some thermal paste on the back shields as well. Once the copper tape is peeled back, we can see thermal paste on top of the RAM and processor, as well as these chips. Now the bottom speaker assembly can be removed. Here's a better look at the bottom dual speakers, and this phone has a total of 4 speakers. There's one speaker located over here, and the second one is located right next to it. You can see the openings for it right here. Here's a better look at that larger speaker. This assembly also has those little white foam balls underneath this tape, and there's some graphite film to help transfer heat. Now we can disconnect the fingerprint reader cable. The flex cable is connecting the main board to the subboard. The screen cable, as well as the 2 other ends of the coaxial cable. There's one more flex cable here which connects this antenna board on the side. Now the subboard can be lifted up and removed. The primary microphone is located underneath the shield, and the SIM reader is located on the back. So if you need to replace your screen, you need to remove the back plate, as well as the screws on the bottom speaker assembly, and remove the speaker assembly itself, disconnect all the cables and remove the subboard, giving you access to the flex cable for the screen, and then you'd remove the red rubber gasket, apply heat to the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, pry your old screen off, apply new adhesive, and reapply your new screen, making sure you run the cable back through the opening in the mid-frame, and reassemble your phone. There's a liquid damage indicator underneath the SIM reader, which is this white sticker, as well as a rubber gasket and mesh filter over the speaker opening on the frame. The charger port can now be lifted up and pulled out. Here's a better look at that. There's an X-axis linear vibrator motor located on the bottom, and it's held down with adhesive. There's some more graphite film on the bottom of the speaker assembly to help transfer heat, and the red coaxial cable is connected underneath this antenna board. To remove the battery, there are pull tabs provided to help us pry the battery off. Here's a better look at the battery. Once the battery adhesive pouch is pulled back and the film is peeled off, we can see the large copper vapor chamber which runs underneath the battery as well as the motherboard. The flex cable for the power button and volume key is located here, and if you need to replace that, there's a plastic bracket inside the frame which you need to pull out, and then once you remove that plastic bracket from inside the frame, you can gently peel off the flex cable. There's some more graphite film underneath the top camera, and here are the two speakers on the top. This larger speaker also has the white foam balls, and the two speakers on top are both held down with adhesive. So if you need to replace those, you'd have to gently heat them up and pry them off. For the repairability score, I give this phone a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time to put the phone back together. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply your back plate. Flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.